Welcome, folks. This is a special edition of Boatrek Live because we're going to be counting down our 10 favorite each 10. We don't know what's on each other's lists
No.
of modern Trek from 2017 to now, which encompasses 155 episodes. So out of 155 episodes, we chose 10 each. And you're probably not going to agree with either list, but tell us what you would put in the top 5 or even number 1. What is your favorite episode? We already have a bunch of people here. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
The comments just came out of nowhere. Joe says, hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Jill, thank you for being here. I'm watching Enemy Mine. Oh, Dennis Quaid and Lou Gossip Jr.
Yeah.
I hope the story holds up better than the visuals.
Hey, P.
Okay. Well, Jill had to go. Now, these will encompass everything from Discovery to Strange New Worlds, but it will exclude short treks because they don't count. But an honorable mention to The Trouble with Edward because that's my personal favorite. What's your personal favorite
Of the short treks?
short treks?
Ooh. I'm just going to go with the first one that popped in my head, which is, what's the one with, it's called Calypso. Calypso, that's my favorite.
Calypso, yeah, that's a favorite. Jill, New Eden is on my list.
New Eden is on my list too. There we go. We just revealed the first one on our list.
So we'll go 2 for 2 and just briefly say why we think it's good. You can start.
So I did New Eden.
And number 10?
Oh, I didn't rank it.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter. Yours are not in any particular order, but mine are.
Okay. All right.
Okay. New Eden?
I can tell you what is my number 1 of the whole modern era. So we'll save that. I'll save that one for last.
Okay.
Like I already know which one's like would be number 1, like if I were ranking it. But anyways,
and really because it's hard to rank your favorites because they're all kind of like equally good in a way, so it's the ranking doesn't really matter all that much, and it's arbitrary. We can change our minds like in the future if way better Trek comes along and like these episodes get pushed out somehow.
I chose New Eden because that was like one of the first episodes that I thought was written really, really well. Like the story was really compelling. Like the idea of this society that had given up technology, but except for this one guy who was just like still science rather than technology, except for this one guy who was still holding the candle, so to speak. And then the payoff happens like hundreds of years later. Like his family's been keeping this device and whatever. So yeah, that was really cool. And then it tied in really nicely with the story of the season with the Red Angel and everything like that. It kind of was a cool thing that they connected it to New Eden later on. So that's why I chose New Eden as one of my favorites. And then what about you? Why did you choose your New Eden as yours?
Well,
it's not number 10 yet, right?
It's not my
so
number
we're doing
10.
2. Okay. The next one then on my list is gonna be I'm gonna put let's just okay, so I don't have any particular order, but I'll just say unification. We'll stick with Discovery, and I'll say
I knew you were gonna pick
3.
Unification Part 3. I knew that.
That is totally it's just I love the Takal and Ket. I love all the things, all the references to Spock, and I love the boldness that the writers and producers chose to call it Unification 3. It's like it's something Star Trek just hadn't done before, and it was really cool. And it was just like it gives it that extra like luster of like ooh, this is important or this is a big deal. So yeah, those are my first 2.
My number 10 is season 1, episode 7 of Star Trek Prodigy. It's called Time Amok, and
nice.
Just to cheat a bit, I'm going to read the synopsis on Crave, which might be the same one on Paramount Plus. I don't know. When the USS Protostar is fractured in time, hologram Janeway must synchronize the crew and save their ship before it destructs. I really liked it. I think it's my favorite episode of Prodigy because it's like it works as a standalone episode. You don't
Mm-hmm.
really have to watch the rest of the show to get the sci-fi concept of the protostar. Uh, Something goes through it that creates a time warp of sorts where the closer you are to it, the quicker time moves. So Rock Talk is like the furthest away. So her time is slowing down, and it all depends on her
Yeah, it's so good.
learning a lot in a we don't know how long of a time to figure out how to build this thing to save the ship.
And
But
it
also,
accelerates her kind of character. Yeah, it's cool.
yes, yes, very much so, and there's kind of like a sweet, kind of bittersweet ending to it where like there's a lot of emotion there, and plus Dreadnought, the whole uh, creating Dreadnought on the ship remotely was, I think, a clever sci-fi idea. On top of the fact that he's partly responsible for saving the ship as well.
Right.
So uh, that's my number 10, and number 7. My number no, my number
Number
9
nine.
is episode 7 of Star Trek Discovery season 1, Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go
That's a
Mad.
good episode. Yeah.
And the synopsis from Crave, or whoever wrote it. As the Discovery crew attempts to let loose at a party, an unwelcome visitor comes aboard, bringing about a twisted sequence of events. And that's Harry Mudd. And he creates this time loop, and it's a really fun episode where Stamets has to figure out it's like a Groundhog Day kind of thing where he has to figure out how to warn everybody to stop Harry Mudd before the explosion goes off again. And there's a lot of fun to be had where people complain Harry Mudd's just like a raging, murderous, homicidal maniac in the episode. But in fact, he knows that this is not going to this is going to be reset every time anyway. So there's a bit of fun in the many different ways he kills Lorca. It's a well-directed episode, and it's one of those episodes that uses a lot of crazy camera movements and camera tricks to the show's advantage as opposed to its detriment, where it can become too distracting. So yeah.
And then that was time crystals, which is cool. We got our first time
Yeah.
crystals there. Yeah. All right. So my next two, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go over to lower decks for the next two, and I'm gonna pick Crisis Point, which everyone knows that episode. Everyone's flipping out. It's a penultimate episode of season 1. Basically, you get the crazy cool references to Star Trek 2. It looks like a movie. The whole holodeck adventure. Badgie goes right. Was the Badgie in that too? Yeah, everything. It's just like
No,
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 Badgie was
no.
not in. That was another one. Sorry, my bad.
Terminal
I'm mixing-
Provocations.
Yeah. But minus Badgie, it was just an awesome episode. And then we get the big reveal with for Boimler finding out the truth about Mariner and Captain Freeman. So that was pretty cool. It's just a damn good episode.
And the fact that it's a form of therapy for Mariner
Yeah.
to deal with the problems she has with her mother, and her mother in the simulation is like, I don't even know you. She's like, that's the problem. It's a really good episode.
And then First Contact is my next.
Season 2, episode 10.
Yeah. I just love that episode. It's with Sonia, Captain Gomez, and the new ship, the Obina class, and just the Cerritos shedding all her hull, and like
Yeah.
it's just that episode is perfection. It's very good. So yeah, your turn. Your next two.
My number 8 is Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I shouldn't even have to say Star Trek, but Strange New Worlds. Season 1, Episode 5, Spock Amok. A personal visit causes a comedy of errors during Spock and Pike's crucial negotiations with an unusual alien species. It has a Freaky Friday vibe. It has a fun kind of like just the crew. What's that game? Enterprise Bingo, I liked all that. I like Pike's negotiation with the alien. You got Robert April in there. It's just you got the shore leave stuff. You have that nice conversation in the restaurant between Chapel and Spock, where she meets a guy in a bar and she's like, come on, let's hook up, and he's like, no, not right now. She's like, okay, I'll just go talk to this other guy that I want to bang, basically. And but I like the way they develop their relationship. Like they're actually making an effort to build up to something with two of them. Something that probably never will come to fruition, but like it's one of those things where some audience members like, just do it, just get together. We know it won't last, and you'll dislike her later on for whatever reason. Maybe they get together and she cheats on him, and Spock's like, I should have known. I cheated
with
on
Dr.
T'Pring.
Corby.
Oh yes, Dr. Corby. Yes, and he could have some resentment
Everyone's
there.
like, where's Dr. Corby? He's coming. He's a coming. Akiva Goldsman said that too.
Yeah, so that was a fun one. And 7 is also Strange New Worlds, Episode 8, The Elysian Kingdom. The USS Enterprise becomes stuck in a nebula that is home to an alien consciousness that traps the crew in a fairy tale. I know some people don't like this one at all.
I don't see why not.
Because it's like kind of like goofy, and it's just like a kind of a bottle episode of sorts. But Mbenga as the lead, like an episode focused on him and how he I love situations where it's like a Twilight Zone thing where a man is the same but everything else is different, and he's kind of got to play along to play it out. And Hemmer, poor Hemmer, gonna miss him. He has some funny stuff. Is funny. Pike is weird, and it's just an oddball episode, but it's goofy as hell. And then it gets really, really serious and sad and bittersweet, and it's like, oh shit! So it really hits you in the heart muscles, I guess. Yeah,
it's good. I'll let you know that Spock Amok is on my list as well, so that'll be my next one that I say, and you beautifully summarize the episode. So all I'll say is that like the Freaky Friday stuff was just great. like just and then wait, am I thinking of the right episode?
Spock Amok is the one where he switches places with T'Pring.
Yeah, that's the right episode. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused because I'm like going out of order on the way I have it on the list. So I had all these. I think very linearly sometimes. But anyways, yeah. So I loved all that stuff, and then of course the solar, the ending with the solar sail, the scorch, all that was great. Like the Una, everything about that episode was great. So that's next on my list. Then I will say that Nepenthe is on the list as well. So I'll go to Picard and say Nepenthe. Mainly because I think it's a little peek of how I'm going to feel now that I know about season 3.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a thing about it. But at the time, I remember it was a nice break. The way they did it was cool. Like in the middle of this like really intense part of the season, they did this little respite and gave us a lot of nice exposition. And who doesn't want to see the Troy Riker family? And Kestra was cool. She's a cool character, and yeah, it was good. It was a good like episode that gave me exactly what I wanted, which was like an update on what happened in between Nemesis and Picard to the main characters. And so it gave me a little.
They had a son that passed away.
Thad.
Yeah. I did like that episode. I just didn't like anything about when they cut away from it to the other B plot. It was like I had an.
Oh yeah, well
if they just stayed on Nepenthe the whole time, I would have been like yes.
That's definitely the part of the episode that I didn't even like talk about just now when I was summarizing it, because it is kind of forgettable, like in hindsight. But it also serves its purpose, like in the sense. But yeah, it's too video gamey, like with what's his name, Narek, like I don't even know
Yeah.
what he's looking at on his control. Yeah, it's a little weird. You're right. But yeah, we get, as Joel's pointing out, the Kazinti are mentioned in that episode. Captain Randall. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of cool things about Nepenthe.
Next, number 6, I would say, would be number 2 from episode 2 from season 2. Fuck. New Eden is what I was
There
trying
it
to say.
is.
A new signal brings the Discovery to a distant planet, New Eden, that is inhabited by the descendants of human survivors of World War III. And the fascinating thing about this episode is when it first aired, you were like, man, how did this church get there? Like, what's the mystery of the church? It's not solved in the episode. Very good episode. Anyway, it's just that later on when you don't really know still exactly how that works. So, okay, whatever. Magic, Red Angel suit can do anything. That aside, uh, the whole going to a planet down to the surface, kind of in disguise. The fact that Pike and Burnham understand what they're dealing with and like play along effectively. Like they set up that Pike knows about he knows about theology and religions and stuff. He's aware and
And his father was something like a professor of theology or something like that.
yeah, and they talk about there's a great back and forth between Burnham and Pike. It really establishes their rapport, I guess. Wishkin goes down on the mission. You get to learn more about her for the first
Her
time, I think.
Luddite family. That's right. Yeah.
And Jacob, him knowing or feeling that he knows the truth and getting that confirmation at the end when Pike comes back. And I like how when the woman witnesses them beam away, she's just like assumes it's like divine or something.
Yeah.
But Jacob knows
angels.
better, and then Pike comes back and gives him the power to light the church with what seems like way too bright a light, but that's a nitpick. So yeah, that's a good one. And also the whole concept of saving the planet. Tilly comes up with, let's do the donut thing and use the asteroid to whatever they did, and that it's a nice little, we got to save the planet in like so many hours. And Saru's like great as captain,
Oh,
playing
that's
the
right.
captain role there. Number 5 is No Small Parts. It's the season finale of Lower Decks, season 1. The USS Cerritos encounters a familiar enemy. Tendi helps a struggling recruit to find her footing. So the recruit they're talking about is the Exocom peanut hamper, who's like seems to be a drug addict or something, just like a delinquent. Because there's a scene where she comes in, she's like, "Wow, that dilithium is like really good," and she's like knocking things over and stuff, and she seems to be like out of it. And then later, when she's in the sick bay with the doctor, she's like all sober and stuff, and she can do like the precise. And Tendy's like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And it turns out she's just a jerk, because at the end they're like, "You can save us, Peanut Hamper." She's like, "No, I just did this to make my dad angry." So that part is funny. But on top of that, it's like you've got the Packlids being like an actual threat,
That was awesome. You're right.
and the ship that gets destroyed at the beginning, and so it's a good mix of comedy and like action and drama too. So it was a really well crafted episode. Yeah. Lower Decks is going to get a lot of mentions on this.
The next episode I want on my list is Farewell, which is Picard season 2 finale. I was torn between that and Stargazer, because Stargazer starts out so strong, but I like endings. Ultimately, I'll always choose like the ending of something. Like Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie. Star Trek 6 is my favorite TOS film, I think. Well, the motion picture too. But anyways, but I digress.
So Nemesis is your no.
No, it's not. But still, yeah, I stopped myself because I realize it doesn't hold true all the time. But I do tend to like the endings, and I thought that was a nice little wrap up um to the way that Picard. I feel like Picard's a mixed bag for me because I do love the show. Like I think I'm probably, at least in this room, the biggest uh, Picard stan here. But I do feel sad that some of the crew aren't going to continue into season 3 because I really enjoyed the new people, and so I'm glad that so it felt like a weird ending because there's still a whole season, but I get it. Season 3 is a totally different thing. It's about it's a totally different vibe and stuff like that. It's going to be a wrap up to the original cast, and so I get it. So as far as like this fun new cast, the Motley Crew goes, I think like this was a fun, good way to go out for them as a team. And so Farewell was nice, and it's called Farewell. I never really thought about that before either, but it's called Farewell.
It's like goodbye to half the actors in the show.
Yeah, it's like literally
seek other employment.
But then the obvious reason I chose Farewell, of course, is the all the Picard Q stuff, which is just excellent as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I bought into some of that at the end when
you can't help it. Whatever you think of the writing or anything, but just seeing those guys, like if you have a lot of love for TNG, just seeing those guys together, I think it's gonna hit a little bit, like hit the heartstrings. Joel says the Q Picard love story real. That's funny.
My turn, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? No. Oh no. Farewell, and then I got to do one more. Sorry, you're right. That's two. I only did Farewell.
Okay.
Jeez, I talked about it so much. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Kobayashi from Prodigy. That's the one where Dahl goes on holiday, keeps trying to win the Kobayashi Maru, and you get like cameos from the greats, like so yeah, obviously I like that one because it's just a fun crazy episode. I really dig Aaron Waltke, and that's like his passion episode. Like I think he like put his heart into that episode. So, and you can feel it. Like it's one. Yeah, it's definitely got his stamp on there.
The voice cameos were, what was it?
A little
Leonard Nimoy,
Spock, we had
Gates
Scotty,
McFadden.
Gates McFadden. We had Leonard Nimoy. We had James Doohan. We had who was that ops? Nichelle Nichols.
Oh yeah.
And then there was one more person. No,
I can't remember. It's not an episode I particularly enjoy.
Oh, I think it was Michael Dorn. No, it wasn't Worf, was it? Here, I have to look it up.
Odo.
Oh my God, how could I forget? It was Odo. It was nice. Thank you, Joel. Yeah, so Rene Auberjonois. So yeah, it had a lot of I forgot that Odo was in it. That's right. Is that? But yeah, it had a lot of heart, and I love that line about the only way out of this is through chaos. I still think of that line. So.
Yeah.
So there, I did my next two. Yeah.
All right. My number 4 was on your list. Crisis Point.
Nice.
Mariner repurposes Boimler's holodeck program to cast herself as the villain in a Lower Deck style movie. I like the widescreen. I like the lens flare. The kind of like there's film grain for whatever reason, which is wouldn't be a thing if
and
it was
the
an actual
aspect
movie.
Ratio changes, right? Doesn't it get?
Yeah,
it
goes wide. It
yeah.
goes
Yeah.
What do you call it? CinemaScope or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun off the wall episode, and it just not much to say except they did a holodeck episode where they made themselves exist in a movie, which they kind of like Dixon Hill is kind of like that, but it's like more like you're in a novel, But like, if you could be in a holodeck program of an actual movie that like was based on a movie but wasn't exactly the movie, you played like the main character or something. Like I could be Sarah Connor and the Terminator's trying to kill me. You know what
Right.
I mean? Something like
Right.
that. So that was really fun. And who doesn't love a good holodeck episode? Number 3, we're in the top 3 now. My top 3. But after this, we'll get your top or your next ones. Terminal provocations. The lovable but awkward Ensign Fletcher makes work difficult for Mariner and Boimler, and that's Lower Decks season 1, episode 6. I really love the Fletcher character and how like stupid he is. You get a lot of firsts in this, like that became kind of memes in the Star Trek world, like the choo choo stuff. Badgie is the whole Badgie thing starts in this. Where at the end
That's right.
he tries to kill Rutherford, and the whole thing about Ensign Fletcher plugging his brain into the thing and then creating this AI, which essentially then saves the day. And then he gets promoted, and like he gets fired because he put garbage in the warp core or something. It's like it's such a delightfully stupid episode that I get a chuckle out of it every time I go back to it. And
Fletcher is great. Yeah.
Tim Robinson does the voice of Ensign Fletcher, and you got to listen to his acting, his voice. It is so brilliant. Like his inflections, and the animation is particularly good too because it matches this guy's personality. If you ever know anything about Tim Robinson, he's just a bizarre, weird, very exaggerated dude. And his voice inflection is like all over the place when he does like sketches and stuff like that. He was in Saturday Night Live for a bit, but he has a show called I Think You Should Leave on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm already biased toward the fact that he's one of the funniest people doing a voice in Lower Decks, and actually really it's a really well written funny part. So I love that episode. That's my second favorite episode of Lower Decks. Yeah.
Nice. So
This is your top 2, right?
my top 2, yeah. So again, but not really the top 2. I only have a top 1. The other ones are kind of like
Yeah,
I didn't
okay.
rank them properly, but yeah, these are my last 2
All
and the
right.
top episode of the season. So I'm gonna put a moral star in the mix of the 9. You know, the 9 that are all equal, whatever. Because I love the story wrapping up with Zero going full Medusan. Um,
What episode is that in the Prodigy? Is
a
that
moral star is
episode
the last episode of
episode 10?
yeah, episode of the
It's a
first half of
two-part,
the
right?
season. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, let me make sure. Yeah, part 1 and 2 together. I just consider them one
Yeah.
episode. Um, but yeah, that moment in particular is very magical. But also, you know, it was cool to get more information about the diviner and like you know, where they come from and like, you know, all that stuff. And he got his just desserts. Like like he's, you know what I mean? Like this guy was really bad,
Yeah.
and he gets stranded on that mine or whatever, you know. So at the end, so yeah, that was really rad. So yeah, good solid mid-season ending, which I'm just dying to see what happens next in Prodigy. I don't think they've released it, but we got a little sneak peek, PJ, in at Star Trek Chicago, which I'm wearing the shirt for right now, and so I haven't seen it publicly what we saw, so, or maybe I have. Hold on, let me look online and see.
That might show up in I don't know, November maybe?
Yeah,
October, November.
I think so.
So
Yeah,
what is
yeah, I don't see that they've released that scene yet, which is interesting. Hmm. Okay.
also that kind of animation takes a long
A
time
long
too, so
time. Yeah, yeah. But
um
yeah, beautiful, beautiful episode.
the rest the I
And then
assume the next 10 episodes will be released sometime this year.
the number one top episode for the whole entire modern era of Star Trek
Drum
so
roll.
far is Equality of Mercy for me. The finale of Strange New Worlds, season one. I think of it as like a damn near perfect episode, and I've watched it more than any other episode of Star Trek in the modern era. I've watched it like over 10 times at this point. I've like paused it. I've been like, like I take it like it's my favorite episode so far of the modern era, and I didn't think I would say that, but it surprised the heck out of me. It's all Stranger World surprised me. Like I was excited and hype about it, but I didn't know it was gonna be as good as it was. So yeah,
I like it. I don't. I wish I could like it as much as everybody else who
Elle says.
is totally on board with it. But I think they're talking about season 2 like, yeah, forget season 1. Season 2's got some stuff. We're gonna break all kinds of canon. I know. Okay, my number 2 is actually a Star Trek Picard episode. What? Season 2, episode 1, The Stargazer.
Yes.
Starfleet
It
must
is
once.
a really good damn episode.
I can't do it. I was gonna do Patrick Stewart. Want me to
You
read
did
it?
pretty good.
Starfleet must once again call on legendary Jean-Luc Picard. No. After members of his former crew discover an anomaly in space. What a great setup for a season. Not a great payoff, but I'm judging it as the episode on its own. Picard's on the vineyard. They show him doing his vineyard stuff with Laris. Everything seems cool, calm. Some Borg anomaly. They don't know for sure if it's the Borg. They won't. But Seven's like, yeah, they're the Borg. Seven's there. The Stargazer's there. Rios is captain for whatever reason. Sure, I'll buy that. Agnes is funny and cool in it. Here's the thing. I love the story of the old retired hero. It's like, there's a problem out there, and you're the only man that can deal with it. Literally, they're asking for you. So he doesn't have a choice. It's like, well, there could be other Picards in Starfleet. Ask one of those guys. Why is it always me?
There's
like,
a lot of Picards out in time though.
So great setup. If the season had remained at the quality of that first episode, it would have been the best live action season of Star Trek, I think, probably ever. If they'd improved on that, it goes to some good places in the first 3 episodes, and then it just falls off, and I just can't stand it after that. It like really, it's offensive. I won't get into it, but they got a lot to make up for in season 3. Let's just say that, for me personally.
You hear that, Terry Metalis?
Joel says Agnes drunk at the party is the best.
That's
a good. I like that scene. Picard season 1 episode 1 was also pretty good. I like that episode as well. It was on my like extended list. It got me hooked on that story and eventually disappointed me, but it did its job getting me initially interested in it. The first few are great. Starfleet Boy. Okay, my number 1. Can you guess? Can you guess my number 1?
Hold on, just hang on one second. Because I've talked to you enough about.
I'll give you a clue.
All right.
It's a Lower Decks episode.
Oh, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go.
It's something that's hard to pronounce. I don't think anybody says it right.
Oh shit! Which one is that? Hold on, don't tell me. Let me just look.
It's the penultimate episode of one of the season. Well, I gave it away there.
Okay, just tell us.
It's not the Mugato. Mugato is I actually probably hate that. It's probably one of my least favorite episodes.
I have Mugato Gamato on my list that I cut it out, but it was on my short list of Lower Decks episodes. That's funny. All right, what is it? Which one is it? Because it's either Crisis Point, which you already said, so it can't be that one, right? Because that was the penultimate. So it must be. Hold on. What is the penultimate of season 2? Well, what is it? Tell us.
Season 2, episode 9, Wedge Douche. Or
Wedge
we-
douche. That is. Oh my god. That. Why? How did I forget wedge douche? That's a really damn good episode. That's it.
I watched that
can't believe
again. I
didn't
watched
put
that
on my
again
list.
today. It never gets old.
It's
It is
really
such.
good.
It is a 26-minute episode of a thing that's just packed with goodness.
Yeah.
It really
Wedge douche is
is.
great. That's a great freaking episode.
Like the Vulcans on their ship, like the way they act is just perfect. The way the commander reprimands her for succeeding. He's like, well, I understand it worked, but you gotta fucking know your role, type of thing. I'm like, that's so Vulcan. The Klingons, fucking pure, like just the way it's exaggerated. They're, you know what I mean, like it's cartoony, but like they have a full Klingon story that you can get into, plus the Vulcan story. The Boimler story is probably not as interesting, but the Klingon and then you got the Packlids with that red alarm, all that funny stuff in the mix too. So, and that
wow,
Vulcan,
wedge douche, man. Number one of all time.
I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of the main Vulcan, who saves the day.
Oh, it was
God damn. I had her name in my head earlier. But yeah, she's a character I want to see come back. I think she should, because she's probably going to get sick of being like demoted or whatever and be like, I might as well just join Starfleet. And she like ends up, wouldn't that be cool if she ended up, I can't believe
on Cerritos. That's what everyone wants.
Can't believe I forgot her name.
It is Ta'ana. No, that's not Ta'ana. That's the cat. Sorry. What am I doing?
Vulcan officer. Lower decks.
Watch, someone in the audience comes up with a fat. T'Lyn.
Yeah.
T'Lyn. That's it. Gabrielle Ruiz plays her.
It's such a good episode. God damn. That is the best Lower Decks. The Borg joke at the end. Yes, that's very good.
Yeah, it's true.
Where it's like, here are the
There's
lower
like an
deck.
hour-long YouTube version of that you could watch.
Well, like you can fall asleep to.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I guess Lower Decks wins.
Very cool.
The Star Trek game.
That was interesting. I had a ton that I wrote down before I narrowed it down to my
Yeah, let's do our honorable
two.
mentions.
Honorable mentions. All right. So should I just name them all for disco?
Yeah.
How do we want to do all honorable?
Oh, you just name whatever one. You probably have
Right.
a list of 100.
I put
100,
yeah, it's
100
a
out
long
of the
list.
115, right?
I put Lethe, An Obol for Sharon, Project Daedalus, Through the Valley of Shadows, Such Sweet Sorrow, Kobayashi Maru, Choose to Live, Stormy Weather, and Coming Home for disco. Because those are all good episodes. So those are my honorable.
Choose Your Pain Despite Yourself. I think Vaulting Ambition is not bad. In season 2, The Red Angel, Project Daedalus, Picard season 1, the first and last episodes aren't too bad at all. Picard season 2 is just it's the first 3. Prodigy, I like all of those episodes, but I'm not like wow.
That's cool.
I'm definitely interested in the story. I think out of all the Trek series, that has the best serial. It handles the best, or it handles serialization the best. Or like you're actually interested in like the overall story as opposed to like something we don't know about. We're gonna find out about in fucking episode 8, and then we find out and we're like, oh okay, whatever. This is about like, oh, Chakotay's involved and the real Janeway's involved, and then there might be time travel. Like, it's very fucking intriguing.
Yeah.
It's just, I think in that show in particular, like the best is yet to come. Like the first half of Prodigy is probably going to be like kind of dull compared to what they have in store.
Yeah, I have a feeling based on what I saw, it's going to be insane.
And Lower Decks season 3 is coming soon too. So
yeah, I know it's coming right. For Lower Decks, I had Temporal Edict in there. I had Mugado, Gamato, and I put Wage Judge in there. So those are my other ones. But there's so many good ones. Lower Decks, one of my
Moist
shows.
Vessel, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, that's such a good one. Remembrance for Picard, Absolute Candor, The Stargazer, and Monsters were the ones I had to to give honorable mentions there. And then Lost and Found and Time Amok were on my list for Prodigy as well, that I was narrowing it down from. And then finally for Strange New Worlds, the only I had Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach and The Serene Squall. Those were my honorable mentions for that one.
I like Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. I like the first 3 episodes of Strange New Worlds a little more than the later ones. I like episode 6 of Strange New Worlds too. I basically in Strange New Worlds I like 6 out of the 10.
Nice.
What's it? There's one I'm forgetting that's good, really good. It is. Oh shit. Oh yeah, Discovery season 3 episode 1 and 2 are pretty good. The premiere episode of season 4 is pretty good. So maybe I had more than 16 or 17 initially, but yeah. Out of the 115, for me it's like that many I enjoy. So I'm always looking for improvement, but I think the animation is kicking the live action's ass. Probably because they're just allowed to do anything from a budget perspective. It's animation. It's all animated, so like with live action to have so much animation, it would have to look so photorealistic. It just costs more. And I'm learning stuff about the visual effects industry that's like, no wonder we're getting wonky visual effects, like good and bad, because they're overworked and they're on a deadline, and it's like the way they bid is like, we're gonna do it cheaper just to get the job, right? And it's like, man, it's one of the most underappreciated industries. So I'm gonna try to be a little easier on criticizing CGI from now on.
Cool.
But anyway, thank you, Starfleet Boy, for joining me.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm glad we got that list done. Audience and also folks listening later, tell us in the comments what you think.
Quality of Mercy is the Ender's Shadow of Trek. I don't know what that is. Phil's
Ender's
story.
Game. It's a Ender's Game. It's a novel about, I think, the what if, the who would have been Ender if Ender wasn't Ender. So it's like that kind of a thing. Yeah.
All right. I want to thank everybody in the comments and everybody who watched live and who will watch it on the replay. Let us know your top 10 or top 5 or your favorite episode of Modern Trek so far. And what are you looking forward to the most? Is it Prodigy? Is it Lower Decks? Is it Picard? I know it's Picard for me, even though it's the one I like. It's the show I like the least. But that's season 3, man. They're taking a cue from what they failed to do with that new Star Wars. They needed to have Luke, Leia, and Han in a scene together. Maybe Lando too. They never had the brains to do that. But and now with Trek, it's like no. We're gonna have Worf. We're gonna have Beverly. We're gonna have this. And we're gonna have the whole gang together in one shot on an adventure together.
Oh, hang on. Joel just corrected me and says it's the same story, but from Bean's perspective. Thanks for clarifying that. That makes more sense. Okay, but still, it's a very similar idea. Yeah,
Mr. Bean is a funny guy. Anyway, thank you, folks, and until next time, live long and prosper.